Hello everyone and welcome to Final Fantasy Count Up Cast. This is an episode we've been waiting for and some of you have been dreading since the beginning. This, Slack just pointed at himself, you guys couldn't see it yet on mine. Maybe on his you could.
You can see me, yeah. You can see me on mine.
I'm already laughing, you screwed up my intro. We're going to be talking about Final Fantasy 13 today. It's an infamous Final Fantasy for probably, it's one of the most controversial Final Fantasies to talk about, pretty much. If you like it, you're a devil according to some people, and if you don't like it, then you're an asshole according to the other half. So let's just share our opinions on it, but I'm one of your three hosts. Michael, Mr. Happy Poverone, of course, joining me is Scott, also known as tehMorag. I don't ever use his last name. And we have Slack, my evil twin. Although I'm the evil twin. We established this yesterday. I'm the evil twin.
You can't even figure out how to pronounce delirious.
I also can't even figure out how to turn my camera on, apparently, because I didn't do that before we got... It's because I'm looking at the thing, so it's just a black box, but you guys can see me. They can't. And then everyone on your streams can see me, but I can't see myself. There we go. Makes perfect sense. Hashtag professionalism. And also, we're all dead, by the way.
I'm still dying. Yes.
Still
Morag's
dying,
Slack's still recovering, and then I was yelling all weekend, so my voice is a little stressed or a little strained. So
yell. No one likes
weird.
to
Dude. There was a concert. There was metal the whole time. We had Susan Calloway and everything. It's fancy. We had two concerts actually.
That doesn't sound like when you're yelling though.
Yeah, but when it's metal and everyone's just yelling, "Fuck you, Titan!" Then all of a sudden, then it gets really out of hand really quick. Oh man. So, gentlemen, Final Fantasy 13.
How's it going?
Are we all done with it? Did we all finish it before this episode?
No, I am currently in the middle of Chapter 9 farming off stream.
Incentive chips?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we'll definitely be talking about that part of the game because we were actually Morag and I were discussing it before you joined the call. Morag, you're on 13.2 right now.
Mm-hmm. I'm almost beat it, but I'm doing 100% for it.
Oh, that's gonna be fun. All DLC?
Yeah, I'll be doing the DLC too, most likely. We'll see what happens. I've been told that some of it, if you didn't min-max properly, is a little bit of a fun. Plus, I'm adding an extra challenge to it. I'm not leveling up any of my monsters. Which I've beaten it before, but I haven't done the DLC with it.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty rough, not having that third role for the DLC. And I finished 13 just before going to Fan
3
Festival.
months ago, yeah.
No, actually, because of 12, I ended up falling behind the schedule. I didn't have 13 done before our proposed date, especially because Final Fantasy 14's patch came out, and there's TwitchCon, Live Letter, like, it kind of just got swept under the rug for, like, a week and a half, maybe. But, yeah, I finished it. I didn't move on to 13.2 after that. I've been playing the patch for 14. But I know that Final Fantasy 13 has been the kind of the game we've referred to the most since Final Fantasy 1 at the beginning. This is Count Up Cast number 11 about 13, but we've been talking about it since Count Up Cast number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys ready to finally have an episode where we're supposed to talk about it and it just doesn't happen by accident?
I guess we can start off with what version.
Let's start talking about FF12, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, with how long the Yasmat fight's going, I think it's still going right now.
Yasmat only took me about an hour and a half, by the way.
Shut the fuck up, because it's longer than it should have taken you with all the fucking gear and shit. So, wait, what version did we all play?
PC.
I played the PC version. I didn't know that you played it too. It looked like it was running... Oh, wait, are you guys on dual PC setups?
No.
Really, you're not, because it looked like it was running really smooth for you.
So I learned that if you run that game on full screen, don't.
Okay, I'm in windowed.
Okay, and if you're running it at your native resolution, don't.
I'm not.
Then I don't know what the hell's wrong with yours.
Yeah, no, I'm actually running in windowed and at a only 720, but it still ran fine.
Yeah, I that's what I heard. I heard that they've patched it to run better since it first launched when it was a complete disaster.
So when the Steam version launched, it didn't have any resolution options. It was just, here's your game, enjoy. Because this was before Square knew what the hell they were doing with PC ports. As time goes on, this has been one of the more interesting things to me.
To be fair, do they really know? Because they just keep taking mobile games and throwing them on PC, so I don't know.
It's better than what the 13 port was.
That's true.
Unfortunately. Not to mention that it's very poorly optimized. If I wasn't streaming it, it would be running a lot better. But as it is, since I'm on stream, I've even taken my stream down to 30 FPS while playing it, and it still runs really, really poorly.
That's
Not really, but it runs pretty badly. And then as they've patched it, they've given us things like they gave us the windowed options and the resolution options, but they still weren't very good. To actually get more resolution options in full screen, you have to go into the config file for the game and modify
I
it
hate that. I hate that. So I've run into that issue a lot with games recently where there's no resolution options and they just kind of expect you to drag it when it's windowed. And even with full screen, like it just doesn't give you any choices. Like I don't know. I've seen it's like games don't care about giving me resolution options anymore. I don't know what it is.
I really wish. Like I know there's a ton of indie developers that have done it amazingly well.
Yeah.
And it just
the AAA titles just falls apart.
And I was talking about this actually during another multiplayer stream that I was doing, and it's just like, well, it's just like, are devs actually being lazy with it, or is there some sort of engine limitation that we don't know about as consumers? But as consumers, we can root and rave and be like, we want this as much as we can, and because we don't know if they're cutting corners or if if there is limitations that they just haven't put in. But if we're talking about Mafia 3, well, they just put in a 60 FPS.
That was maybe the game that I was just referring to right now when I said that.
Later.
That may have been the game that I was talking about when I was referring to that, but I didn't want to name it. Okay, so Final Fantasy 13, we got to hit all points here pretty hard.
Yeah.
Because every single piece of this game has been torn to shreds. But
And
I do
it's
want to
about to
remind
happen
everyone,
again.
and it's going to happen again. I want to remind everyone that this is the third highest selling Final Fantasy of all time, third or fourth. Because it was the first on the PS3, similar to how 7 was the first on the PlayStation 1 and 10 was the first
And
on the PlayStation 2.
it's going to be the only one on PS3.
That's not true. That's not true.
Not counting, I mean,
13,
not counting 14. And
oh, you mean like versus 13? I get it.
No.
It's
I get
okay.
it.
Zelda's the exact same way for the porn.
Zelda's been taking forever lately.
Oh, lately.
Well, lately, the last 2 decades,
Okay, so let's hit the first point. I want to actually hit the story first. Normally we talk about like the characters and the party composition. Let's hit the story first, because we don't even need to talk about the characters, or we will talk about the characters as soon as we start talking about the story elements that we liked or didn't like. So revisiting the story after all these years, were we any more keen to the terminologies and whatnot? Because 13 is mostly criticized for giving you very little context about the Fabula Nova Crystallis universe before throwing a wall of terms at you.
I'm so happy to play the game 2 or 3 times because it makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah, it definitely that's one of the problems with this the story specifically. I guess it's sort of a pacing problem, which the game has overall, not just with the terms. One of the other problems that it has with terms, I feel like, is something that a few people in my chat have pointed out. They use the terms fal'Cie and l'Cie over and over and over and over and over and over and over, so much so that the 2 words lose all meaning.
Yeah.
They like hammer you with these 2 terms constantly, and it just like they can go to with pronouns every once in a while. They can refer to them in different ways, talk about them in a different way. It just feels like they went, oh, we got this new word. We got to let people know that it exists. So for 13 straight chapters, that's all these people say in every other sentence.
I mean, it's because it is central to the story. It just
it's just that it does it too much.
I don't even know if it's just them keep saying the words over and over, because like we say the same thing for almost anything we end up doing in our daily lives. I think just they're too similar of words.
That's a big part of it. Yes.
I don't think the human mind could comprehend it in English properly. I think that's literally it, because like going into the game for the first time, playing it for the very first time, it's like fal'Cie, l'Cie, like those are the exact same thing. Like I don't know what the difference is between these. Like I'm too silly, too dumb to figure this out. Like I don't know. It just was more confusing with more shit that they ended up throwing at you throughout like that first 2 chapters of the game. Like it was just over and over. And it's just like, no, I don't know what you're talking about until you actually sit down and it starts slowing down near the mid and then to the end. You're like, oh, I get it. It's just gods pissed off at each other and they just want more power. And then you're demi-humans. Oh, okay, I get it now.
Yeah, and well, did you want? I just cleared your throat.
I had something to say, but I also
don't die.
Don't
I'm
die.
doing
We
my
need you.
best.
We need you.
On the same subject of terms, one of the things that when I first played the game, going into it, I was like, oh, hey, this is really cool. The data log,
Yes.
where they have a section where they go into depth, where they explain in detail a lot of the aspects of the world, whether it's about the Fal'Cie, the l'Cie, or characters that pop up in the game. As things go on, what it turns out is that this is a big waste of time, and it's them designing. It's another thing, like the problem that I had with FF10, where they've got this great lore, this big world, all of this development, but none of that matters. No one gives a shit about that. We'll just talk about you, Yevon, in the last 15 minutes of the game. We want people to focus on the characters of the story.
Mm.
And so you've got all of these moments in the data log where it starts talking about how, like, Papa Roach, or whatever his name was, the guy that you fight outside of Hope's house, Roosh, something like that.
I call him Rosh. I call him Rosh von Bonsenberg.
Right? Yeah. So that guy, whatever his name is, in the data log, there's information about him. They explain how he got to where he is, and then you see him in one cutscene, and then you fight him. His own men shoot him to death, and then he's gone. Okay.
Well, I will say this: at least Final
building
Fantasy.
up and developing the backstory of this guy when it means absolutely nothing to anybody.
I'm going to talk about that in a second, but at least Final Fantasy 13 didn't pull a Destiny and put all of its lore in the game, and not on an external website. At least you have the data log in the game.
True.
The big thing you just spoke about is with Rosh. And this was one of the biggest problems I have. I'm okay with the majority of 13's story, the l'Cie Fal'Cie. Even the first time I played it,
Yeah.
I got it that it was gods pretty quickly, and the demi-human thing. It's just because it's the only way I can make sense of anything.
Yeah, I actually want to touch on that moment when I feel like the story is almost the best developed. But we'll get to that in a minute.
But my biggest problem is that the story never gives you somebody to hate, and when they finally do, I don't feel like I needed to hate this guy. Like he just reveals himself. It's almost like the Necron thing, where all of a sudden you find out this guy is a big deal. But all of the other villains they were trying to building up, like Rosh, like Sid, like what's her name, Nabat. All of a sudden they don't matter, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, but it's this guy, because this guy is actually not who he says he is.
It actually kind of reminded me a little bit of, because like at least like you got it, you understood it, but like for me, like I didn't understand it, but instead I got to know the characters a lot more. Like, and that's all I ended up seeing is like there was no bigger battle, there was nothing except for what the characters were doing and what they wanted to do, because it felt like it's like some of these characters spoke in a way that you didn't like. They were automatically like almost intimate with the majority of the matchups that they had in those first chapters.
Yeah.
And you got to know their inner thoughts no matter what, regardless if you wanted to or not. And like going through and then seeing each matchup, and then they switch up, seeing those matchups there, and then seeing them come together with all that previous knowledge, it almost felt like no matter what, like they wanted you to just know what the characters were and not give it a shit about anything else. It was just about their focus, and what they were trying to do as a self-perpetuating character.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that this is kind of one of those games that when you play it again and again, it all kind of like once you have the base, and then you can start realigning everything, it makes a lot more sense, because I enjoyed the story this time better than I did the last time. This is only the second time I've ever played it, but...
Oh, damn. You know, it's always better the second time. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I had other issues that I didn't notice the first time that I had the second time, but they're not related to the story. So, all I'll say is 13, my second favorite story of all of them. 13-2 is still my favorite. And Lightning Returns is just like...
I thought you meant of the whole series.
No, of the three Final Fantasy 13s.
Yeah.
Because they're their own bubble. I don't even touch the other Final Fantasies when comparing 13.
The 13 series as a story is interesting. And I still to this day would like to know if they planned on making 13-2 and Lightning Returns like mid-development, before 13 development, if they already had everything ready for the two other games, because I don't think it's been officially said yet.
I know that they were greenlighted about a year after Final Fantasy 13 came out. Both 13-2 and 13-3 were greenlighted at the same time.
Yeah.
But I don't know about the discussion regarding if the story was designed, because we'll briefly touch on 13.2 and 13.3 here, only
Yeah.
because they're part of the universe, but we won't really get into the same depth
Yeah.
with them as we do with 13.
No. It's just interesting though, because like going through and seeing how the story ends up progressing, and seeing how they pull back to say some of the stuff that happens in 13, like seeing Intro's Gate at the end of the game, and you're just like, they show it as like Bartandalus being all like, oh yes, it's the Maker, they're here to finally go and give me the powers because Cocoon's getting destroyed. And then you later find out, oh no, it's Etro saying, oh man, these poor humans, they did so many nice things. Let's do nice things for them too.
Yeah. It's
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
No, it's spoilers, yes.
Yeah, sorry about that. Oh man.
I think one of the highlighting moments of the story for me, where it really touches. Excuse me, it really touches on these are gods versus gods, and they're all dickheads thing. Is when you're in, I think it's chapter 8 with Lightning and Hope, and you're walking through the area with the floating platforms that take you to places, and you walk past one of them, and they're like, "Oh, that's Carbuncle. They treat us like pets," and it's like, okay, I see where you're getting with the idea of how this is all being treated, and then it again does this thing that 10 does, where it focuses on these characters, and unfortunately, all the characters in the game are really lame. Meanwhile, you've got this story that could potentially be about, you've got these gods against each other, and you've got to go out and fight for the humans and do all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. But it focuses on these characters, and it's these characters that are ordinary people thrust into an extraordinary situation. A very common storytelling theme. It's just that in this example, the ordinary people are ordinary in like all of the wrong, worst possible, most boring ways.
I felt that less the second time through than the first time through. Like, I was somebody who, and we're gonna probably transition that into talking about the individual characters.
Almost like I did that on purpose.
Yeah, it's like he's been doing this show for 11 weeks. So anyway, I felt less that way about the characters. Like, I remember being one of those people who's like, oh my god, Hope made the game unbearable. Vanille, what the hell is your accent? Lightning, why do you not care about anything? But this time I didn't feel that as much. Like, I mean, we've spoken about it literally. I don't even need to say it again, and we definitely don't need to elaborate how Hope's sort of obsession with, getting even for his mother's death, he drills it into your head for too long. But I mean, it didn't get to me this time. I don't know if I was immune to it at this point, or if I just understood where he was coming from. And I felt that way about most of the characters. And I still love Saz. I never didn't like Saz.
Saz, or Saz, however you want to say it, is one of the
Saz.
characters I do like. One of the only likable characters on the cast. I also, in spite of the accent issues, like Vanille. And I know I'm
That's
one of
a
the few
woman
people.
who voice acts her actual accent is the thing.
Yeah, she's
too.
Australian. She was an Australian soap opera actress, I believe.
Yeah.
And then she transitioned over to that.
She
and
was at PAX West, I think.
Was she?
I think so.
And I mean, with her, like, I had tried to see past the accent issue. It never bothered me the first time I was playing the game. I saw it and I was like, what was that? But it didn't bother me to the point of like, oh, I got this is totally ruining this character for me. And I think the reason that I like her is because what they do with her is that because of her being the narrator, we get so much story and so much characterization for her compared to what a lot of the other people get. When the other characters are monologuing, a lot of the time it's just talking about the event that's happening right around them right at that time. But with her, for example, when she runs out into the rain when her and Saz are off by themselves, and she's feeling guilty because of what happened to Saz's son, Dodge. She runs out into the rain because she's crying, but she doesn't want him to know that. And so she's standing in the rain to hide her tears. And we actually get some characterization, some meaning behind her actions, and she kind of builds up what's happening in the story overall, and like what led her and Fang to being there and all that. And so I've always liked Vanille more than most of the cast.
Before you go, Morag, because I know you have to cough. Slack, I have to ask you one really simple question that my chat pointed out to me, because this was probably the determining factor between you not being sick of her voice and me being sick of her voice. Have you death farmed as Vanille?
I did when I first played the game a long time ago, yeah.
So
I don't mind her battle sounds that much. I don't know why.
Listen, do you not know she has a quote based on, she says a different thing depending on how many debuffs are on the target, and she says it every time. It's like, I can't even remember what it is because I tried to block it out of my head. My chat's probably gonna remind me of it, but I like every time I'm like I see the bar counting down to her casting the ability, I'm like, please, oh god, which one's she gonna say this time? And I couldn't take it because I did a fair amount of death farming. I was like, this is why nobody wants to do this method. She was unbearable of the. I can't remember somebody and stop it with the rubber duck. Now you've made me mad. That's the one. Now you've made me mad.
Now you made me mad. Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, that's the one where she says when she is 5 or 6, she goes, and she says it like that, like not even like now you've made me mad, like she's angry. She's like, now you've made me mad.
Yeah.
Like the Moogle, I'm sharpening my knife, Kupo. It's pretty much the same thing. And there's only so many times I can hear that over a 2-minute attempt to kill a goddamn turtle before I drive myself insane. And then on top of that,
You're making me feel feelings right now, man.
I know you are, and I don't want to know what they are, but yeah.
They're good feelings.
But our character development's fine. I'll give you that. What about you, Morag? How do you feel about these characters?
Honestly, it's interesting. Like the biggest thing for me is just like as characters, you know, I had ones I liked, I had ones that I didn't like. But what I get the most thought out of is when playing this now. This is the second time I've played this on stream, and it's interesting to see how many different people cannot connect with so many of the characters. They just can't connect, and they make up these weird reasons to connect to certain ones of them. Hope is probably one of the biggest reasons. Everyone ends up just saying that Hope is an emo and that he's a big crybaby. But
dude, mom died in front of him.
Mom died right in front of him. You're just like, that is not emo. He is severely traumatized right now. How do you call that emo? It's like, it just doesn't make sense. And it's like, so there was that. And then there's the whole like Fang being super, super aggressive. Like she's trying to fight for what she wants. And she's the only one that was like ready to say it, that she was going to do it because she wants to do it. And there's other people that would just pop in. They're like, oh man, I love her so much. She's so aggressive. Like, why is everyone else not following her? And then everyone else like, man, why does she have to be that person that just doesn't want to fit with the group? Why does she just not help everyone else? It was just like, whoa, okay, this is interesting. You get to see everything. So when you try and take like each and every single character and put it into this complete story, you know what? Square did an amazing job to create characters that you could either extremely attach to or extremely hate. Like they're very good polar.
So like real personalities.
Like real personalities. Like what the hell? And like it's just they did an amazing job with it. Like I know that even people go and say that Lightning is just another female Cloud as well too for all of its main.
Having now played through 7 to 13 in this, I didn't get that. Like I mean I get the name and I get that they actually use Cloud as inspiration. They wanted to create like they openly said that her name is even like kind of.
Well, all of the characters are based on.
Yeah, Basaz is based on Barrett, and yeah.
Well, no, not that. I mean, all of the leading Final Fantasy characters since 7 have had. Sky.
I always connected pretty much this entire cast to the majority of the cast from 7 because it feels like a lot of themes are completely reused from Final Fantasy 7. But I mean, I never really felt like they were the same person when I played through. And Lightning, for me, the second time through, I enjoyed as a character a lot more than the first time because I remember her being kind of cold and emotionless, but I didn't get that this time.
No, definitely not.
Her character doesn't bother me so much. It's her character arc, where once they get to Grand Pulse, she's just like, "Sorry, guys," and that it's just kind of over.
Well, like one of the big things is like not realizing because they don't show enough of her actually being in SciComm, to her like handing in her weapon to the government, saying, "Screw all you, I'm getting on this train." Like, I don't think they show enough of that, showing how she was before. It to her, like, you know, Sarah coming in being like, I'm a Lassie now. She's like, I have to deal with you now. Like, it's like Happy was saying, like, there's not a lot of emotion behind that except like, I have to take care of you now. But it didn't feel like the government style of, okay, I have to take you in. Instead, it was like half like confusion, half I love you, half like I'm kind of half confused, or I don't know how to show emotion.
A lot of halves.
It's like a lot of ads, like, because you really don't know what they're trying to portray. And I don't know if it was just a bad delivery or if it's legitly she's even confused. I don't know. It actually kind of makes me want to go back and watch that scene again. But when Sarah first tells her that she's a Lassie. But even then, like when she's talking to Hope, like to say, like, you know, do what makes you right. And then after she finds out, oh, holy shit, I just screwed up and told Hope to like go kill a person. It's just like, whoops. And then even then she like goes back on it. It's just like trying to build him up. She has to tear him right down right there. And I don't know, like she ends up progressing in a very weird fashion, but she's also extremely multifaceted. Tries to like come up with like reasonings for almost everything that she's doing. And she will change on a dime too.
For me, I guess the one thing that we haven't touched on yet, or there's two characters we haven't mentioned, we haven't uttered a word about. That's Snow and Fang.
He talked about Fang some, but yeah.
Like, yeah, but that's just in relation to Vanille. And like that's pretty much what she feels like. Like as you're introduced to Vanille super early, and Fang essentially becomes an extension of Vanille's character. True. And it hardly ever feels like anything else for me. I
can see that to a degree.
See, Vanille always felt like an extension of Fang. Like, I felt Fang was a stronger character than Vanille. Vanille was just there as, like, the person that wanted to do stuff but couldn't, and then Fang was there as her inspiration.
We also have an identity crisis with those two, because this kind of goes back to who's the main character of Final Fantasy 12. At 13, it kind of it's a similar feeling, because they want Lightning to be the centerfold, but then they give everyone their own parts because of the way the chapters are broken up. But by the end of it, it feels like it's actually about Fang and Vanille more than anyone else.
Yeah.
So that's probably why. I don't know. But that's just, when I see Vanille, I feel like everything Fang does is an extension of like what she wants for Vanille, and that's it. And then the one time she tries to make a different decision, Bahamut comes out and kicks her fucking ass. So that's how I always felt about it. And then you have Snow. Well, I don't know. I never minded. He was never like he's never a stellar character for me. He's just way too. He overplays the whole like I need to look happy so other people don't know I'm like torn up inside kind of thing. And it gets a little annoying.
The one time that he's like, oh shit, I messed up big. It's like when he finds out who Hope is, and you're just like,
he's like, I'm sorry, I can't save everybody.
You get to see his first weakness, and honestly, like I don't think you get to see another weakness for him at all. Like
he goes back to that same demeanor immediately after that scene.
Even in Lightning Returns, like I haven't seen. Well, spoilers. He changes depending on when you actually kill him in the game, but from what I understand, he changes his full attitude as well too. But I would like to see what he would be like when he goes full crazy mode. But you don't get to see another side of Snow at all. It's just this quick demeanor. I'm gonna beat everything up because I can do that.
Yeah, he's the hero.
Yeah, he even says it. It's like, what are heroes for? Just like I am the hero. Like that is his entire shtick, which is not a bad thing because there's people out there that are like that. Like they did a damn good job of showing that these could be real people.
I feel like they're all way too over the top to be real people. It just never, like, it's such extremes of like, with Snow, they take the idea of the hero, and they like turn it on its head. They completely invert the trope of he's a hero, but he's also the huge fuck up a lot of the time. We look at how much Hope is upset because Snow failed at saving his mom. And then on the other side, when he has that big breakdown, it's just the other extreme of why am I such a miserable screw up? How could I not save everybody? Yada yada yada.
It's funny that you call him way over the top because I have a friend that acts almost exactly like him. Like
sorry, Morag's friend.
And it's just like it's I don't know. It's interesting, and I guess it just comes down to like if you are experienced. Or if you've seen it in a real scenario versus not.
Well, I think I don't know. Snow never got on my nerves. Like he was always over the top to me, but I grew up with enough friends that fucking watch anime that nothing about him ever bothered me. So.
Yeah, he's an extremely anime character.
Yeah. Oh, in a Japanese game, Gio.
Well, and not every Japanese game does that either. Is the thing.
I don't know. I always felt like all of them were. I always felt like all the Final Fantasies have just over the top moments and characters. Like every single one of them has one that's just like, really.
Well, I mean, this game is full of them. Is the thing.
Yeah.
And that's part of the problem. The other thing is that I don't like, I guess it's story and character. I'm not a fan of the way that they do the episodic chapter-esque. We're playing as this group of characters now, and this group, 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 and this group.
Man,
and
it's
this
almost
group,
like
and
you
this
knew we were
group,
going to talk about gameplay next.
Yeah.
It's almost like that, because that is where that was the first point I was gonna hit when talking about gameplay. Is it's nice that we're given the opportunity to sort of see these characters isolated from the entire cast, so you can learn more about them. What it leads to, though, is having 2 fucking party members for the whole goddamn game, when the game literally does not support said, like, only having 2 people. Like, the game just does not come together. The combat system does not come together when you only have 2 people in the party.
Yeah, no, that was probably the most lackluster thing. It's just like being forced to only use two members, especially when they're trying to get you to understand the combat, because
And that's exactly why they're doing it, too. Because they want you to be like, hey, look at your limited options with this setup and who you have here and what classes you have available to you. But they drag it out for 20 hours. Yeah. And that's almost literal. If I hadn't been skipping some of the cutscenes in Chapter 9, it would have been around the 20-hour mark when I finally got the whole team together and that I could switch my characters around. One of the other stupid things they do, even if you have more than 4 or more than 3 characters in your party, before that point, you can't swap the 4th person in. You're not allowed.
They let you see
on the sidelines for no fucking reason.
They let you see that they're there, but they're like, you can't. It's party members. Why?
So here's a quick little piece of information. If you skip almost every battle you're allowed to skip, you can get to the Tower of Trasga or whatever, in 18 hours. That's not skipping any cutscenes. This is skipping battles.
Yep.
Exciting.
It's pretty awesome.
Exciting.
It is. Yeah. It is, especially if you try and hit every single goddamn battle. It's like 20 to 25.
I know.
Like, it's just so much battles.
Well, it made me really want to speed up for at least moving around.
Yeah.
Just for running, especially because it's not random encounters in this game. Like 12 wasn't random encounters either, but getting enemies to respawn is not nearly as troublesome in 12 as it is in 13, where it's like, okay, I just got to run all the way down there and then come back. It's nothing, right? And any place where the less space you need to run, that's where you stop and grind, if at all. Because when we hit the gameplay points, this is really where I like to. There's points here that I don't agree with the majority of the community with, and there's points here I do. Let's go one by one. So we're already talking about kind of the hallways. I did call the show Hope in Hallways, after all. This is actually one of the things I dislike the most as a complaint about the game is the hallway like structure of go from point A to B to C to D, because I feel like when you're trying to tell a cohesive story, that's probably the best way to do it. It just didn't help that their story didn't really feel cohesive for a large part.
It's the point that they end up breaking up all the characters. Like the exact same thing happened in Final Fantasy IX, is that they broke up all the characters to try and create those separate scenarios, but by the end of it, it's either you're trying to tell a story and have something that's cohesive that works together, and to not feel jarring in gameplay. And it felt jarring every other hour because you had to change up everything that you were thinking of, which is a good and a bad thing. But what are you trying to do? More gameplay or more storytelling?
And they never found a balance until the very end, which is, I don't know. Like Final Fantasy X is a giant hallway till the end, and then you take the airship and you go to all the individual hallways.
Yeah, that's the thing. You don't even get exploration at that point. You just get the freedom to go back to the hallways that you've been to before.
Yeah. Well,
so I just never liked that as a reason. I think that, if anything, the hallway thing is better spoken about with the Crystarium. Because...
Yes. Like how, like, the first 2 hours, any battles you do are completely meaningless?
Yes.
Oh my god, that bothered me so much.
EXP that does anything, you just get items and a star rating. There's nothing, zero zip. And that's actually what made me want to skip all the enemies. I'm like, this is dumb. I don't need to attack a single thing out of all these, because I can beat the boss the exact same way as if I like sat here and killed a bajillion of these. There's zero reason to do any leveling at all for the first 2 hours of the game.
And even if you stop and do it, they're going to tell you how much you're allowed to do, and there's no choices to be made. Whereas Final Fantasy X might have been a hallway in terms of the story. The sphere grid, the original sphere grid's still a bit of a hallway, but it still gave you the illusion that there was all this choice waiting to happen.
There's a lot more going on with the 10 hallway system of the Crystarium or the sphere grid there.
Yeah.
You at least you open up your board and you can look around. You can be like, oh, what's ahead of me? What's 10 levels ahead? What's 20 levels ahead? What's 30 levels ahead? Oh, what's this person getting? Ooh, I'd really like to pick that up on this other character later. How am I going to get over to that maybe? Well, I could use a friend sphere. I can do all this other stuff to get there. I get a level 2 lock sphere. I can unlock a route that gets me over to there. But with the Crystarium, it's just, this is this character's Crystarium. This is the one for this character. This is the one for this character. Their jobs have different Crystariums. Every once in a while, there will be an offshoot to get a single stat node. Or if you're lucky, there will be 2 stat nodes and then maybe an ability at the end of it. Ooh.
Well, it's like, I don't know, like the progression through the Crystarium, like in this, actually, this is, even if you want to compare it to straight leveling, like if you're going to be leveling up your character, say in Final Fantasy 1, you get EXP, you get stats. You get more EXP, you get more stats. What's the difference between that and just you pushing the stats yourself on the Crystarium? At least with the Crystarium, you get to choose what stats you want to and how you want to limit yourself as a player. What could have been cool, and this is where I wish that they ended up doing it, is they could have done the Crystarium in 3 different ways. Number 1, an auto mode. It will automatically put the points in for you as you progress and as you play the game. That'd be really cool. The second way would be the exact way that it is right now. And the third one, they do the expert route for Final Fantasy X, open up all 6 trees right off the get-go and let you choose what you want to do. Like,
or
did not put that in, it confuses me so much.
Or we have option number 4, fuck the whole thing and just do the traditional leveling system, because if you're gonna make me go in a straight line, at least don't let me see it.
One. It's the same as the first one.
No, not even in auto mode, just no Crystarium. Just literally I leveled up and I got stats. Like I'm level 1, I'm level 5, I'm level 10. Not I'm gonna generate 100,000 CP and then it automatically fills in this linear board that I think you're missing a step though. That linear board is how every basis of RPG ever existed. It is, but it's a terrible, like if you're gonna do the straight like the auto method, I'd rather that not even have, just eliminate it.
You don't want to see the information. Just want.
I don't want to. I just want to see. I want to be, because
I got level 1. I got level 2. I got level 3. You don't want to know how your character is affected.
I'll know how my character is affected by the level, but I don't need to see it on a grid that's going in a.
Has it bothered us that much in the past when it was like, oh, I don't know exactly what stats I got from my previous level up? It's like, I got a level up. I got some HP. I maybe got some MP depending on the game. And I probably got some.
You also can recognize strength a lot better in the previous games than in Final Fantasy. Like when you put a few points into your Crystarium, it's not immediately recognizable in the next battle because the numbers are just ridiculous, and the amount of them that flash on the screen and the amount that they're trying to just give you all this information, and none of it makes me feel good about putting points in the Crystarium. Not until you start getting to like stage 9, stage 10, and even then it only feels good if I do like 10, 15 of them in a row.
Yeah,
I would agree, but it's
like on the same note of
I like it because I get to see the information. I know how to, like, okay, from a D&D point of view, if you know that you're leveling your character and you're putting your points into certain stats, you can understand then that you should be aiming more towards those attacks, right?
Right.
Like if you're actually in a tabletop D&D situation, like if you know what you're strong at, then you know how to act upon it. And that's the way I see the Crystarium as well too. It visually tells you the information that you end up are doing, regardless if it's linear or not, and it opens up in the end of the game, near the end of the game.
But even the should be doing thing, that's not even that accurate because Saz isn't that good of a commando, but you get a bunch of strength nodes on him, and his like. For the most part, you're going to be basing his stuff
on those adamant choices.
Blitz is really good early on, but then once you get the whole team together, you're not really.
It's all about it's Fang Highwind with a Genji glove or bust.
That is true, and like that's you as a player getting to decide how you want to progress the character. If you want to do that, playing with all the different characters, finding their strengths and weaknesses. Like I don't know. It would be
a really weird strength and weakness some characters have. How quickly their animations go off. Saz, you are a piece of fucking shit, by the way, because you have to do like 20. You have to do like 20. Just like.
Saz was my endgame character. He was excellent. He was excellent. I enjoyed him. Actually, we didn't even talk about what our endgame characters were for.
Not yet. I actually wanted to talk about the hallways in the not the Crystarium sense. Still. I feel like what bothers me so much, I mean, yeah, you've got your straight and narrow hallways, you got your little offshoot to a treasure a lot of the time. And what bothers me so much about it is that they've got this big beautiful world that they've constructed. They've got all these crazy locales that they're showing off. And like in Chapter 8, for example, when you're playing as Saz and Vanille, you're walking around in the City of Dreams. And there's all this beautiful stuff off in the distance. All these great lights that you can see and all this. And what can you do? You can walk forward, and then you can turn left to a dead end with absolutely nothing over there. Or you can go to the right, which is the only place to go to advance the story. And I feel like that is the biggest problem. Like, they've got all of these hallways, and it just amounts to nothing. There's nothing else around them. It's not just that you can't even explore them. It's that there's all this opportunity in the background to explore. And they just say, no, go over there. Hit that button. And now you can advance past that wall that was in front of you a second ago.
Morag, you look like you're at a loss for words.
Okay, there's a couple like points there. Like number one, they only had like button pressing like 3 times the whole game, 4 times the entire game, minus the.
There's a lot more than 3 or 4 times. That you press at least 3 or 4 buttons alone in the section where you see Carbuncle. There's little switches.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Well,
Because every time you press one, you get another cutscene.
Yeah.
I remember
And
that.
then earlier on, when you're in the junkyard,
The junkyard was one scene that was talking
there.
about. Like that was you had to hit 4
The
buttons.
giant dreadnought,
When
when you're riding the giant dreadnought, that was always
riding the
so
dreadnought, I was like, what's the point of this?
I don't know, like, but the point is like they ended up only doing the short bursts, which sucks. But realistically, when you are in the scenario that they are you going to go back to some of those areas?
Well, I mean, they do all this work of constructing this world, and then you literally don't even have the choice of going back.
But realistically,
and then there's no way
if
to
you're in
go.
that scenario, would there be any reason for you to go back to the place that you were captured and everyone is still acting the exact same way? From a storytelling aspect, would you go back there?
I didn't mean go back there at all. I didn't mention going back. I just say explore. Like when you're in that moment, when you're in the element, your option is like go forward. There's literally a path 2 paths that will go around a spot and then meet on the other side, and they both do the exact same thing.
Except one of
Like,
them usually has like one
that's as much
treasure
choice
chest.
as there is in most of these areas. a lot of the time.
Okay, no, I'd go for that too. But
Like going back to them though, I mean, depending on
allowing-
how things played out, you
Half of them
could.
get destroyed anyway.
Yeah, that's the thing.
allowing a little bit more reason to explore in the environments that they create is what you're looking for.
Yeah, just like they've got these huge, great environments, but I never feel like there's anything. There's no purpose to it aside from look at the pretty graphics that we made on PS3.
No, fair enough. And it's like I know when we were playing, like it was discussed. It's like, well, did they only do this because of hardware limitations? Like, did they have to? Because as it is, like this game was pushing the limits of both the Xbox 360 and the PS3 at the time for what they were. Don't die, Slack.
I'm trying.
It is interesting. Like if they could have made areas that made a little bit more sense that allowed you to explore, and that's where like 13.2 are these self-contained maps that you can go around and explore. But no, it would have been really nice if you could end up. Hey, there is PS3 limitations. The game still lagged anyway.
Yeah, it did a little bit.
Well, as you're moving through the gameplay, you get to play with as the 6 different characters at some point or another, and at the very end, you get to pick your party of 3. Now, I don't know how you guys made your decisions on this. I strictly made it based on how shitty their animations were for half of the. Like I love Saz's Blitz, like especially for Adamantoise killing, like real pre-Genji Glove Highwind, like full 999 chain. And then you like Snow because he does shit damage, but he chains like a madman on targets because his animations are so smooth. And then you have Hope, who does great magic damage, but his animations are fucking awful for his magic spell. It's like, it's all about animations. Like, every decision I make is about how quickly their animations go off, because I need to be able to know that I'm going to get these actions off in time for this before this enemy is able to counter me in some way. So how did you guys decide who you went with in the final 3? If you only did 3.
I just went up for how I wanted to play the game. Like it was Saz for haste, Vanille because she had her saboteur and healing, and then Fang because her commando is just that good.
Yeah, her commando's really good.
I haven't decided just yet. Right now, I'm thinking of something with lightning. I'm also thinking about Fang and Saz because of haste. Haste is ridiculous. And Vanille, I want to do Vanille because great death farming later on against the Flan. Mission 13, I think it is, once you reach Grand Pulse.
Once you can go back to Grand Pulse, you can death farm on you can. So don't hate me for this. Two things. One, on my 5th Adamantoise, I got a Trapsahedron from death farming.
Wow.
With a 1% drop rate, mind you. 2, I killed the Neochew for the growth egg in 3 death.
I think that's what I was thinking of.
In
the
3,
Adamantoise,
yeah, that's
not a
mission
Flan.
55. It's in Airba, wherever it is. The mission to pick it up is in Airba, and then you have to go to where the Ochu is, and there's a Neochew hunt on the side, and yeah, that's for the growth egg.
I didn't even get to show off any of that.
Yeah, I didn't do all the missions. I didn't do like Vercingetorix or Longuise or anything like that, but I death farmed some fucking Adamantoises at a Neochew, man, because that growth egg,
Yep.
that's beautiful.
Yeah, makes a huge difference. And I mean, so at first my party was Lightning, Fang, and Saz. And then I realized, for one, I didn't have Fang's weapon that I wanted to upgrade right then. I didn't have the taming pole, so there wasn't much point in using her, because I didn't have a very good weapon for her. So then I was also like, wait a minute, I don't have any AoE healing. This is sort of a problem for my team setup right now. So then I've swapped out Fang for Vanille for the time being. I don't know if that's going to remain what my party set up in the future. We'll see what happens.
What about you, Morag?
Yeah, I'd already given my.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But the big thing was, yeah, I did it purely off of just having a good team comp. Like, and that made sense all the time. Like, you know, buff up and debuff at the very beginning, and keep a commando. It was nice figuring out that Saboteur was a downgraded commando in terms of keeping the stagger gauge alive. Saboteur, actually, I understood. Like, I found out the Saboteur is a lot stronger than people imagine for both pushing the gauge up as a Ravager and keeping the gauge high as a commando. Like, it's almost one of those perfect middle areas.
And the debuffs are fantastic.
Like, yeah, no, and especially once you get to a certain Vanille fight, you'll realize that all you have to do is just literally spam Saboteur and you win, which I did not know, and I spent far too long on that fight.
Are you talking about the Eidolon?
Yeah, like I couldn't figure it out, and then sounds like I'm gonna go look up strat because we'd sat there for far too long because I was trying to do it completely under Crystariums, and yeah, no, that was an interesting fight. Saboteur is ridiculous for stagger gauge. That's all.
I went with I had Hope and Vanille kind of as a combination almost the whole game because Hope was all protect shell, and then eventually he gets haste. Eventually he gets to the point where I think it's stage 9.
Yeah, it's pretty late for him.
And by that point, I had items that were auto hasting, and I was killing most packs before the auto haste would wear off. So it lasts about 60 seconds or something like that.
I've also really been a big fan of. I've always been a big fan of the N fire and water, etc.
Yeah, they kind of get underplayed in this, but when you have them,
yeah,
the whole thing just goes way better. And then the third, I swapped around a lot. Sometimes I had Snow for Sentinel. And his Sentinel, Commando, and Ravager are all pretty top-notch, especially with the amount of health he ends up getting, just him as a party leader, which is something I'm going to talk about as soon as I talk about who I was playing as my party leader. Don't play Hope. So he's a little too fragile for my taste. As much as I like controlling where his buffs go, I also like having more than 5,000 health or 500 health for like 90% of the fucking game. And then otherwise, it was Fang for her commando, just outright for her commando. Even with a bad weapon, it just felt like her commando just ripped shit apart. Yeah. And that's the next thing. We kind of discussed the party members, but probably my biggest problem with the entire game is the party leader. Because this is
don't even remind me because the end fight. Actually, I don't want to spoil it for Slack. I don't want to spoil
I've watched playthroughs and everything, so
you know that the last boss has a chance
Spam's
of
death.
Yeah. And it can target your party leader.
So there's actually
Can't wait.
I'm thinking of that mechanic because I played through and I think I saw that mechanic once and it did insta kill somebody who wasn't my party leader. A lot of people mistake that. It's a completely different attack from the attack that does 15/16 of your max health. The thing is that if you have poison, you die instantly because it's a percentage-based thing.
Yeah.
So, but there's no way to get poisoned unless you poison yourself. So I just don't know why the fuck that's even a comment regarding it. But everyone's telling me like if you're poisoned, you'll die from it. And I was like, but why would I happy. But the party. So
Thanks
for those
the heads up. I guess.
for those who don't know, in this game, if a person you are controlling directly dies, it is game over. The rest of your
fixes that.
and the thing is, it's not like your party member dies. You don't even see them die. They just go on one knee and they're just like, man, I don't know how this could have happened. And it's just like, get the fuck up, dude. What
Just wait. Somebody will heal you in 2 seconds. All right, it's cool.
Up. And you know, the big reason I mention that is because in 15, Noctis, if he loses all his health, that will be a thing again. The difference being that you don't have the ability to control party members, and the difference being that you have current health and you have life health, kind of. So like you have a maximum health based on how much damage you take when you're knocked down, and if you're healed when you're knocked down, okay, fantastic. But it's when both health bars hit 0 that you actually die. So imagine if you have 2,000 health, you hit 0, and you get healed back to 2,000. Okay, you're still alive. But if you get hit while you're at 0, your max health starts decreasing, and as soon as your max health hits 0, that's when it's game over. And that's when you need to use Phoenix Downs on party members also. Like if like Ignis or them die. It's a similar system, but executed slightly better. But in this game, it's nothing but infuriating for some fucking reason, because you just die, and it's over. Like, oh, it changed my and I hit 0 HP. Fuck you.
As much as I hate the party leader mechanic, I think what I hate more is just how terrible the AI is for your teammates. This is some of the worst AI I think I've experienced in a I've played Persona 3, and the AI teammates there are even better.
I don't mind it in Persona 3 when the party leader dies, or Persona 4 I think it's the same deal if the party leader dies. But here it's like the worst fucking thing.
Because you've got, like, for example, synergists and saboteurs. Those are the two biggest examples of how bad the AI can be. You'll have a synergist that will focus on buffing up. Saz will throw out haste on everybody, and then I'll look at one person and say, you need bravery, you need faith, you need vigilance, and then I'm going to start focusing on somebody else. And it's like, I just want him to put bravery on this person. I want him to put faith on this person, and I want him to put faith on that person too, and then move on to another set of a paradigm.
If only there was a system in another Final Fantasy game that could like tell NPC party members how to like what spells. I don't know if
going from 12 to 13, where you're able to command them and be like, "Look, you do not want to cast this spell in this fight, okay?"
There's,
okay, I won't then.
There's like two things that they could have fixed their battle system, hands down. Number one, make it so your party member didn't, like, if you lost it, just switch to another one like 13-2. They fixed that. But the second thing they didn't fix, allow me to turn off certain spells for different characters. Just let me turn off spells, and I'll be so happy. I don't even care if I don't want it to target someone. Just let me turn it off. Don't cast this ever.
I would really love that too, because if you're doing, even if you're doing auto battle as a Ravager, for example, they will choose just a random selection of abilities that to go back to your animation thing.
Do you understand how that works, though?
Well, it's for the chain stuff, but I mean, it's just not efficient.
Go use Libra first, and it will
use... no, I've done that. But, like, if the enemy is weak to multiple things, and its defenses are about the same, like, I'll have Lightning do Fire, Arrow, Spark Strike, and then jump back to do another Fire spell.
But you could just use the same spell 4 times, and they're equally as effective.
Yeah.
And it's the animations are fast. You just have to run all the way up to melee range, and that's when it's like, oh well, I guess I'll manually control it, and then you realize that having the manual control in the second slot and then manually going through in the middle of the action combat, it's just there's a reason auto battle exists.
There's a reason the auto battle is there, but doing it manually is a huge efficiency loss. Like you talking about all this animation stuff, you go down to abilities. Let's say you not even through haste, but let's say you switched your paradigms after you've gotten the full ATB paradigm shift thing.
Yeah, you're sitting at full ATB, but you're sitting there selecting abilities while your ATB is sitting at
I got to go down to abilities, I got to confirm it, I've got to scroll to wherever the ability I want is, and then mash the shit out of it as fast as possible. Meanwhile, my other teammates are probably 2 abilities deep already because the AI is using their auto abilities, and they're not even doing so efficiently.
Yeah, it was very situational when it was good to use auto and not. Well, when to use manual and when not to. But like the biggest thing for me, at least, is I purposely used Fang as my main character because
Commando is pretty smart with auto battle.
Because if I wanted to keep up that stagger gauge as much as possible, if I'm tanking, I can spam provoke and be fine. because it just pushes it right back up. But actually, someone there in the chat, the turning off of spells was like done years ago with Symphonia.
There's a lot. Star Ocean.
A lot of games did
well.
A lot of games.
Final Fantasy 12 literally is the epitome of everything right with programming AI, even if it made the game a laughing stock for me.
It's definitely interesting, like that they had all these really nifty systems, and then with 13 they decided just to shit all over them and try and create something. I don't want to say shit all over them. They threw everything out the door and tried to create a more streamlined system. The Crystarium trying to show how your levels were being affected. Auto battle, taking away the monotony of always hitting fight, the same thing that everyone ends up doing. Actually, funny enough, I felt like I was pressing more button presses, just like pressing the accept button every single time as much as I possibly could with this game, versus with like a generic.
That's why I also don't complain. I complain that the game is designed
all the time.
I complain that the game is designed so well around auto battle, but I don't complain about needing to press because I accept that in almost every Final Fantasy game, all I do is spam fight at the beginning of every.
The other thing is there's a lot more inputs for a lot less. For like before you get the output, there's a big delay, so there's a lot of waiting around. I feel like compared to other games, because I'll scroll down to abilities and I'll scroll down to the ability one and I'll sit there and I'll mash A bunch and then I'm still waiting some more and I'm just waiting for him to go out and do the attacks finally. And then I can do another paradigm shift. I don't know what it is about the rhythm of that's been bothering me so much, but something about it feels really off to me.
Even like seeing like paradigm shifting, like they honestly, if you look back even to say like 10 was the first time you could actually swap people in and out, which was unofficially swapping out a different class every time. And I don't think a lot of people end up seeing how 10 worked with the shifting out of a person, a shifting out of a class, going into 10-2. 10-2's system was even cooler because you had those three characters and you were changing your class live in the battle as well.
You got buffs for going through that grid in different ways, so you could target how your class job. You didn't just do it because you needed to. You did it because it was efficient.
If anyone actually wants to play 10-2, just do it for the combat system because it's probably one of the best combat systems.
Skip every cutscene, please. Just fuck the 100%.
Just and then cut and then like skip everything else. Just play it for the combat. But then even with 12. The
fact that you keep it so near bothers me.
So I can do this.
and then with 12, like 12 ended up going back to the switching out of characters that you progressed, but then homogenize all the characters. But with Zodiac, hopefully they're going to bring back the feel of more like 10 coming in, being able to swap.
One of the things that one of the things I like about 12 Zodiac is that you have that option, but I don't feel like you need to take advantage of it a lot. As long as your party setup isn't like 3 black mages, you can pretty much get by through the fights. And I really like that design. That's one of the things I enjoy about the game. Is that you can have that like 3 class kind of challenge where you're using these 3 guys and you can do most of the fights in the game with just them.
Well, one of the bigger things one of the other issues that I had, the first biggest issue was the party leader. The second biggest issue that I have is the reward for performing an action. Now, we talked about in the earlier Final Fantasies how it's basically the same when you start grinding, how you're just going to hit fight over and over again, whatever. It's pretty much the exact same thing. But when you hit fight in those games, it's probably because you're already strong enough to do so and win this fight relatively quickly. Whereas in 13, the majority of the time you go to auto battle or you select a few actions, the health bar, it's just like trickling down because they gave everything these fucking stupid high health bars to force you to use the chain system, knock them down, build the chain system, actually use paradigm shifts. Like, let's just give everything fucking last boss, 12 million health, whatever, I don't give a shit. Just so they'll be here a while.
Battles do take a little bit too long. I'd agree with that.
I don't know how I feel about how much they use the stagger system as an excuse to figure out how you should play a fight. Because it was visually, that's how you beat the fight. It's either you stagger it or you commando it to death. And that was as simple as the fights got throughout the entire game. And then it was just a matter of, can you switch your paradigms quick enough to heal? Yeah. There was nothing else. All of the fights in the entire game were a DPS race of efficiency.
Poison DPS.
I'm happy. I only used poison until the very end at that last boss.
Poison's really good. It's like like 1-3% of their health per second or something, and then it like if it lasts 30 seconds, I don't know. It's some crazy ridiculous amount of their health that poison actually ticks down.
Yeah, that last boss, man. Whew.
Yeah.
2 poisons is all it takes. It's so dumb.
I will say this though, one thing Final Fantasy 13 did that I haven't felt like in a while, despite the problems with the combat, is it makes all the bosses feel like bosses. That's one thing. The health bars, while they may feel unnecessarily high at times, I felt that way more about just the average enemy, unless you were really over-leveled. But the bosses all feel like bosses. Like you need a strategy. They have some sort of move set that you're going to have to learn and dance around. And the final boss especially, I mean, I'm looking back at final boss at 12, final boss at 10. 9 was probably the last like difficult final boss we had, and even before that, I shit all over every boss other than X-Death.
12 almost game overed me.
Well, that's because you weren't me, and you didn't have already beaten Yasmat before you.
No,
you were also
I did.
you were in Zodiac Edition. That's right.
Yeah, I beat Yasmat before then. It's just that he was nuking us for 2 to 4K per spell, and I was like, "The hell is going on?"
You know,
I was down to Fran and she was 1 hit away from dead before I started rezzing people.
You know, it's funny that Super Mario 14 there says that 10 bosses were too easy. That's because they put no limit on your characters. You could out math. You could out DPS any boss you wanted to in that game because they put no physical limit on your character. So if you sat there and farmed or ended up just doing more battles than what they expected you to do, like how do you balance something that's too easy versus too hard? Like, and that's the one thing that they did with 13 is they tried to balance it in the favor of pure skill versus out DPSing. But once you hit Grand Pulse, you could out DPS almost anything you actually wanted to as long as you farmed it out. Because they opened up the grids to you doing it, and that's where it really is a change of design. Are they allowing you to be skill based or time based? Do you want to actually out DPS them, or do you actually are skillful at beating some of these fights? And that's why I can't give them shit for forcing you for only 2 characters for 20%. Like,
I can still give them shit. They could have done that with 3 characters.
But it was trying to find ways to educate the player. Like it sucks that they did it for so long, but I wish that they talked to you or communicated it in a different way, and they just couldn't do that portion. That was the part that they failed at, is communicating how to play the game properly.
Okay, so playing the game properly. One of the parts about that playing the game properly involves is the upgrade system for your weapons and for your accessories. And this is point number 3. Like, I'm cool with the story, you know, whatever. I've got a few things I don't like about it, whatever. Everyone has things that's normal, you know, it's not really a reason to hate, whatever. But this is reason number 3. The starvation of resources they give your characters other than CP is atrocious. It's like, hey, you need all this gil to do anything. We're not going to give you any. Unless you stay in this chapter for fucking 5 hours to farm 1 item, because you're not going to see another item worth this much. You better hope that you fucking find an item that's worth this much later on, because you're never going to. This is it, man. Right here, they respawn if you take like 10 steps. It's amazing. And other than that, it's bullshit. Like, they don't give you enough of anything to make a real difference other than using the shitty monster items. You have like 10 EXP when you need 12,000, when you need like 1,200.
I'm actually I remember the very first time I played the game, I had no idea that leveling up items and weapons was a thing in the game until I got to the ship, like the chapter 9. It's just like, oh, I can level stuff up. Oh.
And then you spend 9 hours farming incentive chips, and you wreck everything for the rest of the game because it was the equivalent of what the Crystarium wasn't letting you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like, that was like the first time I actually ended up upgrading it. Like, there was 3 times I had to upgrade stuff when I first played the game for the very first time. Chapter 9 ship, right before the Sid boss, and then running through Eden. I had to upgrade once running through Eden, and then I beat the game after that. Like, and it was just like, I wish that there was a better way to upgrade stuff in the game, and I felt like it didn't have a ton of reason to do so. I don't know. It just didn't feel really intuitive, I guess. It felt really silly. It was a silly upgrading system for any of the items.
They could have just made the enemies drop like 400 gil or something. Just just some, just a little bit, just a tiny bit of kill.
I understand they want to try and do like a game to it, but I much rather feel more comfortable just buying a new item. I think they tried to overcomplicate the choice of how you upgrade it. Like, if they made it so then if you were actually upgrading your weapon and it put different stats into it, yeah, this system would have been fine. And that's what they kind of did with 13.2 and the monsters in 13.2. You could put different stuff into it to give different stats for your monsters, which was fine. But with items, it made no sense. You know, you're like, oh, organic to a machine item. I can do it faster, more efficient. And you know what? If you screwed up at the beginning of the game, you've screwed up that entire weapon, and you don't get those. You have to go out and farm more to upgrade that weapon again, which sucks if you don't understand how to upgrade your weapons. And that's what I hated, because again, like with the starvation of your resources, there was no way to understand that you screwed up until way far later in the game, which sucks. There was no reason to upgrade if you never needed to, unless it was purely for math, DPS. I need to beat this fight quicker.
One of the big things for me was even just resistances. Like, you get a black belt that's physical resistance plus 10%. I want, when you upgrade it, it's like minus 20%, minus 22%. I was like, holy shit, this would have been really good if I had actually been able to upgrade it at some point.
Yeah. There's just no good opportunity to do and to take advantage of the game systems. Not even take advantage of it, just to use the game systems early in the game. Like I get the Crystarium limitation as you're going through the game and how it expands as you progress, because, like you said, it's a skill-based thing. They want to promote you using the game system, using the classes, switching paradigms and everything. So I'm pretty fine with the Crystarium limitations, but just not being able to do anything with upgrading equipment almost the entire time, unless you go far out of your way to farm up the stuff for it, is such. It's just shooting themselves in the foot.
Actually, it's kind of funny, like, now that I'm thinking about it, like, if they put the limitations, because there's only two ways that you gain stats in this game. Crystarium, which they limit you, but then there's your weapons. And you can keep putting stuff into weapons the entire game. It's just the grinding gets slightly monotonous. You can almost say that the real stats in this game have nothing to do with Crystarium. It's all about your weapons and your accessories.
It is, yeah.
And
weapons, accessories, and the benefits.
The pure grind. Yeah. That is the pure grind, is actually leveling up those items. And you know what? I felt that was the most unintuitive portion of the entire game.
That's why I had to death farm, because those fucking things drop platinum. I didn't even care about the CP at one point. I just wanted the platinum ingots because they sell for 150,000 a pop. That was it. I was like, fuck it. And then I would buy all this stuff, and then I'd get like 8 levels, and then I'd have to do it again for another 5 hours.
I just wish they made the upgrade system a little bit more intuitive, or with more options. It would have made it a lot more interesting, and I think to the player that was looking for something to farm, they would have made it understand a lot easier. Like, this is where you can actually put your farming into. This is why you want to do fights, is for this. This is why, like, you know, once you kill an enemy, make a spoils area of like items you get, and then upgrade material. Make it like actually say, this is upgrade material you just got from this fight, and these are other items. Like, tell the player what you're actually getting.
Another thing someone in my chat said, upgrading was too restricted for me, kind of discouraging to explore different weapons. And that's another problem that I had with it, is that you have these weapons and they've all got their special statistics. Like, this one will give you stagger lock, but you don't really know how that's going to play out for you on that character if you actually try and use that weapon. But if you want to use that weapon, you've still got to spend all that time and all that money farming and upgrading it. That sucks. That sucks a lot.
And then they don't even tell you what item you need to push it to the next tier.
To push it to the next level, yeah. Another thing that you have to look up online, or just to have a full stock of them, and then go, oh, all right, I need that one. Great. Now I'll reset my save and buy the one that I actually need.
Speaking of items, there's a certain trophy I have a bone to pick.
Oh, yeah?
There's a trophy to collect every item in the game.
Good luck.
Easily the most frustrating. Because keep in mind, that does include upgrading the weapons to their final forms, which requires the Trapsahedrons, which requires 2 million gil or 1% drop apiece. Let's just say this game would take about 30 hours to platinum, and then this one alone doubles or triples it. Morag,
yeah,
you look
no,
like...
I like 13 was the game that people were like, are you gonna 100% this? I'm like, no, it's a mindless grind at the end. I'm not bothered.
Yeah,
right.
I think this was probably the game that turned me off from Platinum and 1000.
I may have Platinum this I might have platinumed all of 13
You
series.
poor bastard.
Well, 13-2 was probably one of the most.
13-2 took 22 hours. Took me
It was
22
one
hours
of
to
the most
platinum.
satisfying games, 100%.
Before the DLC came out, it took me 22 hours to platinum.
Um,
And then Lightning Returns took, I think, 40 or 50. Not so
Super Mario,
bad.
Super Mario 14 about making the upgrades like Final Fantasy 10. Final Fantasy 10's upgrades were good, but it sucked that it just was not usable until the end.
Yeah, it's another problem of it not being usable until later, but it's more usable than 13.
Way more usable than 13.
And even then, you don't really get it until quite a bit in, until you find Riku.
Yeah,
So-
it takes forever to even unlock it.
Yeah.
That bothered me in 10.
And another big one with 13, that achievement, is if at any point in the game you break down an item to get the resources that it makes, like a doctor's code or something, and all of a sudden you realize you broke down the wrong item and you now can't upgrade it to an item you need to finish the achievement. Yeah. Getting an Ether Soul, by the way, Ether Soul, like the other ones are easy, but Ether Souls, the only after you reach a certain point, there's only a limited number of them in chests. No items drop Ether Souls, and the only way to get one is to spend about 77,000 gil upgrading an item to star, and then breaking it down, and then upgrading one of the broken down items to star, and then breaking it down again. Yeah.
You speak from experience, I think.
No, well, because I was doing death farming, and for death farming you need TP, and the only way to get TP back without killing enemies is Ether Souls. So I like, how the fuck do I get Ether Souls other than, like, can I buy them in one of the shops? And then finally someone sends me a link to how to do it. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pass on
Yeah,
that one.
the breakdown system is unintuitive.
I don't even use the like literally. I go the whole game without breaking anything down.
I'm too scared to break anything down
Yeah.
right now. Not because of the achievement, but because I'm like, is this one of the things I should keep to upgrade? I don't know what to do.
Yeah, that's fun. That's fun. It's not. Just
No,
to be,
not
just,
at all,
Just
no.
to be clear, not one bit. I don't know. After all is said and done, I was glad to be done with 13 when I finished it, but it's never been high on my list, but it's not high on my list for other reasons, like not the reasons it seems like everybody complains about. And Morag, I know you said that the 13-2 was your favorite, right?
13-2 is one of my favorites. Yeah,
Okay.
it's definitely in my top 5
Yeah.
of games in general.
Yeah. And it's weird because some of those just like the Crystarium is even more linear than 13-2.
Yeah, the
But
Crystarium
it's-
in 13-2, yeah.
But at the same time, it doesn't drag on as long. Again, that's a big thing with 13. We talked a lot and we kind of didn't ever hit it home all the way. And it was about how everything you want to do that's good about the game takes it forever until you get to that point. Like you're 20 hours into the game before the systems are fully accessible and reasonable to use. At that point, you practically finished 13-2.
Yeah.
And that's
I have never gotten to play 13-2 before. I actually have a sub goal right now to
Need to
see.
play it.
Oh, that was
we
what
hit
the
the
11
sub goal.
subs was for? All right.
What's your sub goal? How many subs do you need?
12 more, or no, 11 more, because I just had a resub.
11 more. There we go. If you want Slack to play 13-2 and he needs to play it, go sub to him right now.
Yeah, 13-2 is one of those games.
More, you are the reason I want to play 13-2.
Do it.
If it happens, it happens.
It's okay. I want to play Chrono Cross. I'm like 16 at subs away from that, but anyway. I want to play Chrono Cross. I haven't never beaten it.
How far have you gotten? If you played it before?
I got to Terra Tower, Terra of Terra.
Okay, you got the same place as Siri then. That's crazy.
Okay, there you go. That's better.
Mr. Happy 1227 Aholicus. Thanks for the subscription.
I went to go use my Twitch Prime, so I forgot I used it. Old school. I did it the old school way. There we go. That's better. That's much better. Okay. Yeah, because 13-2, and that's where I kind of want to go into, because I don't want to spend too much time talking about 13-2 and Lightning Returns, because this was supposed to be mostly about 13. But it is one of the unique things about Final Fantasy 13 is that it has this entire Fabula Nova Chrysalis lore behind it, as confusing as it made the game at first. I know why you're smiling, because I saw what Morag was doing.
Yeah, I knew it too. I knew.
And 13-2, yeah, I mean, you got to reach that goal, because 13-2 is pretty much superior in almost every way except for the Crystarium itself. And some would argue the main characters are weaker, but they're more focused because there's only two main protagonists, and the rest of them are protagonists that have been explained to you in the prior game. So it makes it a little bit, it's more streamlined in like the right ways, and the world is more interesting to explore, and the combat flows. One of the favorite things about 13-2, and that happens in 13, when you've changed that first paradigm in combat, and it does the whole 1-by-1 animation of each of your fucking party members changing their roles. Another thing I fucking hate about 13, it's like paradigm shift.
Yeah, the first time you paradigm shift in a fight, and they're all like, "Ooh, I've got to strike a pose." Me too.
And
Look
then I'm
how
dead.
Fabulous I am. It's like, no, I've got a cure. You don't understand.
I really want to know. I want to understand why they had put a system in like that. Like, if it was something to balance that it was too fast, and that they didn't know how to balance fights around it, like, or if it was strictly just for the cinematic feel. Like, why did they end up putting that small animation gap in there? And otherwise, like, you can find ways in 13 to go and beat that as well too, depending on when you paradigm shift. You can make it so then you don't see that. Sometimes you will, and it's a really silly system that you can actually find ways around.
And in 13.2, they got rid of it. And it feels so much better. It just makes paradigm shifting feel so much better in 13.2.
13.2, they still had the after 12 seconds, you get a full automatic bar, I think, though?
I believe so. I believe it's approximately every 2 full ATB fills.
So you don't even have to shift to get the full ATB one?
No, you still do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But it's just like in 13 where every, like, 2 full ATB fills, when you switch, it starts you at a full ATB fill, yeah.
Like, if you wanted to min-max in 13, you can actually have 2 the same...
Yeah,
that's what I've been doing. I don't think I ever realized that the first time I was playing through the game.
I knew it the whole time I played through this time, and I still barely did it because half the time I would want to swap between like triple Rav and then like double commando Rav.
Yeah,
and this is
like
I had a reason. I never had a big reason other than like commando Rav or commando to like double up.
I have 2 relentless assault ones, so commando Rav, and I'll switch between those every once in a while.
Yeah, and then I don't know. Everything's better. And one of the big things that I was gonna get into until we started talking about his sub goal right there, is the pacing of the game, which we've criticized a great deal here. You take a look at 13.2, the immediate sequel to 13, and the game is paced in such a way that I think he's just talking to a stream alone.
Yeah.
Okay, I would confuse the shit out of me because I'm just like.
Okay, they're mimes. I'm not too worried about this right now. They can do what they want. That's good. It's good, guys. You know, you're perfect.
All right.
You're perfect the way you are. Let's do the mime cast.
The mime cast, the most interesting show that nobody's ever heard.
Oh God.
And you see the huge difference. Like 13, some people may not notice the pacing until you play 13.2. I feel. Because you move through the game at such an accelerated pace. You're not spending the whole game learning how to play the game. Because they know you probably played the first fucking 13 game. And you don't need 12 fucking chapters to explain the same combat system.
Sad but true.
So...
but I would like to ask, as we're like coming up to like some of like the ending here, is like, what do you feel that 13 had progressed the JRPG genre in a good or bad direction?
It was
both.
It's good and bad. Like it's good that it wants to reach out to a wider audience, but it did it at the cost of being a good game.
Wow, straight fire. I kind of agree with
hate
that.
It, but it's super low on my list of JRPGs like that I would play again.
I like that it takes some of the RPG conventions and that it plays around with them. I like a lot of the games that try and do that lately. We've seen that from the Tales series as Tales has gone on. It's one of the things I love about the Tales series. Tales, early on, they had things like you'd cook after battles, which could restore your MP, which promoted you to use your abilities in the fights themselves. And then as the series developed, some of the games like get rid of the MP system entirely. If I remember correctly, Tales of Grace's F either fully restores your MP after fights, or it doesn't even have MP. Have you played Grace's F, Morag?
You need to go play Star Ocean 2.
Well, I've played Star Ocean 2, yeah.
That's
I love
where
Star
it
Ocean 2.
started.
I put a couple hundred into that.
Star Ocean 2 is when cooking like started, didn't it?
It may have even been in the original Star Ocean. I'm not sure. But I mean, those are the same kind of combat system, same overall gameplay and stuff. And what I love about those games is it takes the idea early on in RPGs, we had these systems where it's like, oh, I can't use my fire spell here in like Final Fantasy 1, for example. I want to save my fire 2 spell up until I get to Lich. I need to nuke him down really fast or he's going to squash my team. and there's this incentive to not use the spells there, but we really want to. And so as RPGs have developed, one of the things that I've liked seeing in a lot of them is giving the player the option to use their spells when they want, to summon Chocobo in battle and have them come and run across your enemies in Final Fantasy VII. Stuff like that. But in, like with Final Fantasy 13, they take the class system and they've got the auto battles and the paradigm shifts, and I like the idea, I like the direction, but the execution falls so hard on its face that it goes through the planet into the center of the earth.
I think the biggest thing about how 13 kind of affected it, because I reminded people at the beginning, one of the top selling Final Fantasy games of all time. And even if you look online, most places will give it a high 8 or 9, or it has very positive reviews for good reason, because it did actually achieve sort of reaching out to a wider audience that we like,
a different audience,
and an audience that ended up liking it and enjoying it. And it's a reason why 15 is so looked forward to. Obviously 7 and 10 had huge reaches, had bigger reaches according to sales alone. But I think that while 13, like a lot of the hardcore like 7 and 10 and whatever fans that love the turn-based side might bash it on the internet, stats don't lie. I feel like that's the important thing here.
I'm actually really happy that the stats for 13 speak louder than half the haters that are out there. Like that, just like so much negativity that came around 13. And like there are the people that are like actually say good things about it, but I feel like vocally that they don't have anything to like really say against people like, no, it's a trash game. Like, cause like we all are playing or played through it.
It's like when World of Warcraft has 12 million subs and we're like, oh, trash game, and it's like,
yeah, it's just like it actually kind of feels the same way. It's like the equivalent of someone like bashing the shit out of WoW is the equivalent of someone bashing the shit out of 13. It just feels like it's there. The hate is there. They feel the hate, but sales figures and people that play the game enjoy it, but they don't say anything. A lot of people just don't say it, and it sucks. It just shows that negativity can perpetuate even though positivity is there, but no one talks about it.
I like my chat mate said Nickelback is a top selling band.
I think we're wrapping up. Are we wrapping up or
hating Nickelback is a meme? Don't you just worry about
that.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, kind of like 13 as well. And then Lightning Returns. We'll just touch on that briefly.
Oh,
very briefly.
Please don't call Lightning Returns Final Fantasy 13-3.
No, just call Lightning Returns. I don't even call it Final Fantasy 13. I just call it Lightning Returns.
It's called Lightning Returns.
LR. Yeah.
LR.
I'll just say this quick sentence. Love the combat. My favorite of the 3. Hate everything else.
Yeah, the combat seems cool, but I don't know about all the rest.
The way you progress your character, the story, the characters themselves, the time limits, the fucking optional bosses, it's all awful. But the combat, I love.
The extinguishing of characters was interesting. Because like you're in a world that is dying and you need to kill all the enemies if you wish, or you're allowed to kill all the enemies so they never respawn again. I thought that was a really cool mechanic, but it was a little grindy, which sucked. But
the worst part was not getting any EXP from killing monsters, from only doing quests. That was the worst part. I was like, why the fuck am I fighting? Like, I don't give a shit. I'll just beat you in the last dungeon. I'm going to do this quest. Leave me alone. And Slack has not played it, have you? That's for the better.
Well,
I played through it.
I want to play through that N10-2 just to get the
10-2 I can tolerate more than like when you when you get to the when you finish and you realize what Lightning Returns has sort of culminated. It's almost like the Mass Effect 3 ending, where it's like, why the fuck did this need to be in 3 fucking games?
No, I've actually watched the story. I watched Morag play through it, and I saw the end of it and all, and I was like, that's what this was building up to. This is how this was the big blow off for the 13 trilogy.
The whole 13 trilogy is about choice. Do you have free choice, or are you being dictated by the people above us? Like it's funny how much religious type of content that they threw into that last game. They just literally threw it right in your face. The entire thing. You're like told by God to go and make an ark full of people to reset the world. And Lightning's like, sure, yeah, but you're not going to be the leader. Everyone has their own choice. And it's just like, even like with 13, they're just like, yeah, we're doing what we want to do. 13.2 is like, I'm going to defy God and kill God. And then 13's like, I'm going to obey you and then kill you. It's just like...
And when Lightning Returns is like, I'm going to go be a model for Louis Vuitton.
It's
canon, I promise.
I don't know, like the whole
weird
overarching series story to 13.
Apparently that campaign did really well for them.
Really?
Yeah. Apparently Lightning being a Louis Vuitton model, a digital Louis Vuitton model, that actually did a really good job for Louis Vuitton.
That's too funny.
Okay.
2 final things on Final Fantasy 13. 1, why the fuck is Snow's bike a set of Shiva twins?
Scissoring.
Why does Shiva have a twin?
They're scissoring. You don't like... And then he sits on their face.
Scissoring move.
And
I mean, it just reminds me of that old Budweiser commercial. Maybe
you know
guys
what's even
will
funnier
know this
about
one.
that? When people ask about Shiva in 15, Tabata's like, don't worry, they won't be a motorcycle. He literally said, don't worry, Shiva won't be a motorcycle. And 2?
What was I saying? I don't even remember now. Oh, the Budweiser commercial. There's this old Budweiser commercial from the 90s where it's like, and twins!
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like, was that the whole reason? Was it just because, hey, people think Shiva's hot? What about 2 Shivas? Put them together. Was that their whole
Scissoring.
reasoning?
Sex appeal?
I don't know. Yeah. Exactly,
Yeah, I don't know. Like, motorcycles have a lot of sex appeal, like, in terms
Nope.
of in America, but not like that, man. Not...
Well, like, if you're, like, coming from the point of view of, say, like, just pure fan service.
Yeah, exactly. Was
Man,
it
you
just
want to
this
talk
normal
about fan service?
moment?
Wait till you hear this announcement here at the end. That we're going to talk about. So, overall, wrap up.
The other 13 thing was the music.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Oh,
Easily some of the best music in the entire
best
series.
part of the game.
I actually remember that I went and got the soundtrack before the game even came out. I was extremely like, what the hell is this Chocobo thing? This is shit.
We don't need to talk about the sideburn Chocobo.
It's like I don't want any of this. I was like, I tried listening to the soundtrack. I was like, this is not that great of a soundtrack. You know, there's a handful of good soundtracks. I played the game. The soundtrack made so much more sense.
Yeah,
it's
one of the best marriage of gameplay and soundtrack.
And then 13.2 soundtrack.
Yeah.
It's so damn good. Even separate, it carried on from where 13 left off. 13.2 soundtrack just kicked it right out of the park, and it was so damn good. It's like it's the only soundtrack that still is on my phone for any of the Final Fantasy series. Like it's so good, and it will just work almost any situation. It's
My
damn,
chat
it's so
already,
good.
my chat already brought something up that I was going to bring up, but eventually. But final words on 13. Play it again, not play it again. We've done this with all the other ones.
Play it again.
No for me.
I play it again.
I'll play
with
13.2 again, but not 13.
I don't know, like 13 has a couple different areas, and I play games for the challenge. There's a lot of
challenge for me is staying awake.
The different things. Like for me, I talked about this at the beginning, but like the self-proposed challenge that I did was I was only allowed to have 1 medic in my party. All of my items, I was only allowed to have max tier 1, so I didn't evolve any of the weapons. I tried to skip every single battle I possibly could. I found that I couldn't. I got to the forced battles in the tower in Grand Pulse. I had to go back and do the first 10 missions in order to beat those, and it was a fun experience. It really was. Like those self-imposed restrictions, and it actually led me to thinking. It's just like, why the hell have they not end up putting in like with Binding of Isaac? They have the challenge mode where they give you preset builds and you have to beat the game in them. Why the hell don't they have these in RPGs yet?
Good question.
Not too many do anything similar to that.
It's like just like these are the certain stats you have, these are certain abilities you have. Beat this. Like, why do they not have that? It fits so well with 13.
The closest I can think of is the Ancient Cave in Lufia 2. Ancient Cave mode, I should say.
Yeah.
Where you've got like a bonus dungeon. All of your characters start at 1. You can make whatever team you want, and then you just have to get through the dungeon with whatever items you find in there. That's as close as I can think of.
Yeah, I can find that there's more challenges for 13 than there is 13.2. 13.2 doesn't really, I can't really see any self-imposed challenges in there, except for not leveling up your monster, and that's what I've been doing. But, but 13's fun for challenges.
Well, on that note, we have now done all of the main single-player numbered Final Fantasies.
Yay!
Now Type 0, some sequels have been up to us at our own discretion. Playing side games up to this point have been at our own discretion. Like I know Slack played After Years, for example. We now have to figure out what we're doing for the remainder of getting to 15.
We got a while, man.
It's funny what you say, because like what's happening this Saturday?
This Saturday, after I get back from getting my passport, we will be playing Final Fantasy XI together. Yeah. And that is what we need to discuss here live so we can make it official, is what server we will be playing on. So what I'm going to do, first of all, let's restate what servers our original characters are on. Shiva.
Odin.
Lakshmi.
Fuck.
What?
All right. All right.
I think that Lakshmi, I think was it.
All right, so I'm going to pull up a Final Fantasy XI. Now, we can decide right now if we want to go to one-person server over the other. And then just transfer it. Or I can read you a list of the servers, and we can make a new character on said server. The remaining servers are Bahamut, Shiva, Phoenix, Carbuncle, Fenrir, Sylph, Valfor, Leviathan, Odin, Quetzalcoatl, Siren, Ragnarok, Cerberus, Bismarck, Lakshmi, and Asura. What option would you like to take, gentlemen? Would either of you mind transferring? I know I don't.
No, I'd be fine with it if I can get my character.
And if we do transfer, would we be playing a 99, or would we rather take this right from level 1?
Because
I
I'm
play
level
my
40
character
something right now, so
I
I
think
don't have
my
99.
character's only level 32.
Yeah.
Because most of my jobs are, yeah, I played a lot.
It sure is the Reddit server, so it is the most popular.
Do we all want to make a new character on the Asura server, or do we want to play the characters we had pre-existing on different jobs?
Yeah, the characters we have pre-existing, we would already have sub-jobs unlocked at least.
Okay. So
that's something of an incentive.
We'll do pre-existing characters, and do we want to rock, paper, scissors to determine which person's server we go to? Do we? I'm asking a question.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot!
Or
Good old rock. Nothing beats that.
all right. Or
Can we get Mel to choose a number?
I was gonna say, well, how does that? But then how does that know what server? Oh, and then we just guess hers. She's working right now. I can't really ask her to.
Oh, okay.
How about this one? I'm gonna just pull up an RNG website and I pull it up on screen on like my stream or something, and I put it like from 1 to 3. And
1 to 3?
Yeah, well, there's only 3 of us.
It works.
There you go. All right, so we're gonna do that.
Okay, actually, better question is, do any of us plan on playing 11 later?
No.
No.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
No.
All right. Let's see.
Also, Happy, you do have on your character, you have a few jobs that are lower level, right?
I should really check that.
Yeah, that's sort of important.
It has the scaling already, right? But
yeah, you can level sync.
Oh yeah, okay.
You can literally have the party leader cap the level of the other people. I just wouldn't. I would just be carrying you fucks. Anyway, especially with Puppet Master, because I still got all the macros for that shit. All right, so how about this? Okay, I've got 1 through 3. I've got random.org. Now, which number would you gentlemen like?
2.
2.
Damn it.
You both
I'll
fucking.
do 3 then.
Now you can rock, paper, scissors for 2. How about that? Okay, no, he'll take 3. All right, give me a second. I'm gonna
Good
pull
old
it up.
rock.
I'm gonna pull
Dynamite! I'll blow that rock up!
Fucking dynamite, you cheater. Alright, I'm literally pulling random.org. I'm zooming in giant, and it's 1, 2, 3. True random, it says it right here, just a quick little one on the top right. True random generator, and it's 1 to 3, and I'm 1. Alright, so I guess that makes sense. And whichever one is the server we go to. So if it lands on me, you guys come to Shiva. If it lands on Slack, we go to Lakshmi. And if it lands on Morag, which Morag's 3, then we go to, what was your server again? Odin.
Fairly confident it's Odin. I'll have to double check though.
Regardless, we'll go to your server. And 2 is the number. So we are going to Lakshmi.
Lakshmi? Okay.
Lakshmi. That is the...
Lakshmi. I guess I have to
This
go.
music is so fitting right now.
Let me go and install some F11. Wait, can you get it off of Steam?
Yes.
Yes, that's where I bought it. I think it was $40. Yeah, $40
Oh,
for the Ultimate Collection. So
I don't have it on Steam.
I have it on Steam. I've gone back and visited it occasionally. So.
Just get ready.
Lakshmi. Sorry, Shiva, but Little Happy will be leaving now. Stop it. Stop it. I can still see your mouth.
Look, I was trying to help you out, and so you'd understand that you weren't supposed to see it.
What?
Forget it.
I'm
talking
so
to the
lost.
chat. What do you? Whatever. Go away.
You go. Another thing. So this Saturday, I believe we agreed 2 p.m. Pacific would be the time, because my appointment's at 12, and we gave me 2 hours. Yeah. Just reconfirming that.
Yeah. So same start time as the count up.
Yeah. Well, no, because count up's 1.
You say 2 p.m.
I
Pacific?
said 2 p.m.
Okay.
I was going to do
an hour
1, and
later.
then Morag laughed at me for thinking I was going to be done in an hour.
Yeah.
So an hour later than our
Even
normal
though it's just, I walk into a
Countcast start
fucking post office and then I'm done, you know. That's all it is. That's all it is. I still need to go get that picture taken. I got to do that, like, tomorrow.
Lakshmi.
I got to go to, like, a Walmart or something. So that'll be...
Actually, there is one thing we didn't talk about for 13.
What?
Do you think that 15 is still going to end up being part of the lore?
Fabula Nova Chrysalis? I don't know. From what
I think it will have references too.
I think
but
it's
it won't
inspired
feel
by.
even as yeah.
it won't have
be
terms like Lassie and Falsy.
Hey, look
Yeah.
at that thing that we've talked about.
Like Type 0 used Lassie and Falsy, like same.
It'll have
same
references
way.
like it'll have Sid, like the rest of the games have Sid, etc.
Well, like during one of the very first 13 versus trailers, the Gate of Etra was in one of those trailers.
Yeah, like you might see that. You might see references like that, but even that doesn't need to be considered part of Fabula Nova Chrysalis anymore. That could always just be a straight up reference to 13. Well, we know gods are going to be somewhat of a theme because of even just the box art where you can see the Titans and like you can see the I won't say the name of them because it's from Kingsglaive and the lore a lot, but you can see the dudes in the distance. That's it, the dudes. That's it. And then I think, other than that, I don't think we'll see teams like Falsy, Lassie, nothing like that. I think that shit's all gone. The big thing next week is that World of Final Fantasy will be releasing. For those who don't know, there's a demo for World of Final Fantasy out on PlayStation 4 and Vita now in NA, EU, and JP areas. I have had the pleasure of playing it already. It took about 40 minutes to complete. I could have squeezed more time out of it because there were rare spawns that I didn't find that I would let my chat let me know about. And there's also ways of just capturing certain enemies that you probably need to attack a few different times to get. First impression, real quick, I think you two will love it. That's it. That's all I'll say.
I don't get to play it until tomorrow either.
Oh, demo's not out on Vita. It's only out on PS4. Oh,
yeah, my PS4. It's right there.
Yeah, no, but somebody in my chat just... Oh, never mind. No, it is out on Vita. Someone just lied to me.
I'm probably going to be playing it today because I only have like 2 hours left in the stream because I have a work meeting I have to go to.
Oh, that meeting. Can't wait to see that on those after meeting tweets that you always have.
Yeah, those are always interesting. We'll go with interesting.
Oh, it's not a main menu meeting.
Yeah, I know. The after meeting tweets
Oh.
with you and Casper and whoever else.
No, it's not even a Casper meeting. It's completely separate, completely.
Oh, okay. Then there will be less memes. There will be less memes then.
There's going to be no subtweeting for meetings. Don't worry.
What do you mean worry? Now I'm sad.
There's no meeting subtweeting.
Why can't you play till tomorrow, Slack?
I'm actually ending the stream pretty shortly after the count up cast today.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I have to. I'm a wrestling fan, and the WWE is doing 2 shows here tonight and tomorrow.
It starts at 3, doesn't it?
No, starts at 6, so 2 hours from now.
You going there live?
Yeah.
Nice.
I was like, you know what? It's gonna cost me a lot of money, and it did. But when's the next time I'm gonna have an opportunity to do this? Bill Goldberg, one of the classic guys from the WCW days, is gonna be there tonight. His big return. He hasn't been in the ring in over a decade or something. And I was like, how can I miss that?
Just like if Daft Punk announces a new fucking tour in 8 days, like it looks like they're going to, I'm fucking going to that.
Nice. I'll
spend any kind of money to get to that. Okay.
If you even kind of want to play 13-2, you want to play 13-2.
Yes. I agree with that as well. All right, gentlemen, I think that's a wrap on this one. Hopefully you guys are looking forward to World of Final Fantasy when you have the opportunity. I might even tune in for yours for a little bit more, just to see how you respond to it. But the time to wrap up. Another 2-hour show-ish, but we also got started a little late. Big surprise. So why don't you tell them where they can find you at, gentlemen? And I always let you guys decide which will go first, the worst or the best.
Twitch.tv/tehMorag. Come follow me. And /Cello. I want to play some Chrono Cross. And just so happened, Chrono Cross music turned on right as we started. This is excellent. Another World theme is amazing. I want to play it. I need 17 subs to meet this goal. I want it. I want it.
Fuck your duck.
And we hit Chrono Trigger, so there's gonna be a Chrono Trigger marathon. I'm gonna do Chrono Trigger in one sit through soon, as soon as I'm not sick. So that's probably gonna be this weekend is Final Fantasy 11, so maybe the weekend after. So yeah,
And Slack.
I want it.
Twitch.tv/Slackaholicus or Slackaholicus.tv. I'm not done with 13 yet. I'm probably going to play it for the rest of the week after I do World of Final Fantasy tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I might actually just do some of the missions and chill out on Grand Pulse because I'm in no super rush right now. And I am currently 5 subs away after we got a nice little sub train going from adding 13.2 to my count up.
Nice. What does it take for you to get Lightning Returns?
Another 13 after that.
So you're actually 18 away.
Yep. 18 away for that one.
Nice.
Why is this being weird?
Why are you being weird?
Come on. It's me.
Yeah, good question. I should know. You're me.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, you should understand that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, on that note, we'll let Slack get to his WWE-ness. Hey, look, he's already fucking out the door. All right. He's fucking gone, guys. So we're going to we'll see you next week.
I was doing something.
Oh, okay. Next week we'll talk about our experiences we have on Saturday with Final Fantasy 11. So if you missed the Final Fantasy 11 cast or the Final Fantasy 11 live stream, then don't worry, we'll be talking about it
Next Monday.
on Monday. We might as well do one on 14 at some point. Like, might as fucking well at this point.
Okay, now I gotta find out the time to play 14 because if not, it's just gonna be my experiences of beta 1.0.
Don't do that.
2.0.
You already linked one picture in my chat today. I don't need any more of 1.0.
Let me go link that picture again here. Here we go,
Please
guys.
don't.
There's that 14 1.0 map. Have fun with that one.
All right, we're done with the show. Goodbye. We're done. We're not talking. Nope, I'm done. Goodbye, everyone. Slack, have a good time. We're done.
Saber, wave at the people.
No, that's.
Oh,
no.
hey, wait a second. Slack or Happy, give me 1 second here. 1 second.
Oh no, what's he doing? Please, we're done. I said we were
1
done.
second.
Go, he's gonna pull out his 1.0 collectors, isn't he? He's gonna go get the fucking
God.
birth certificate you had to mail in for, isn't he? He's gonna go get the fucking journal, isn't he? Oh, he's yep.
What's that?
Yep, that's exactly what I thought it was gonna be. That's no one wants to see that.
Come on,
I
the
don't
1.0 collectors. It's so pretty. It's so pretty.
Did you use the birth certificate in there?
I actually
You never
I have
mailed in for it.
No, I didn't. I have
did.
the little thingy. I gave away the code that was in here though.
Oh, you mean the one that gave the free 30 days for the game that was free to play for 9 months after it came out?
Yep. Yeah, I don't have any other paperwork.
Poor launch Final Fantasy 14. God.
Yeah, that was on September 27, 2010. I never forgot that day.
The day your heart broke.
Yeah, it was also the day patch 3.4 came out.
Redemption,
fucking 6 years ago.
Security token, the
6 years
onion
after.
helm. Oh boy. Anyway.
That's a terrible thing to remember.
I gotta say again, it's still impressive to me how they took what 14 launched as and they turned it around like they did. It boggles my mind.
Oh,
Have you seen the new trailer?
Yeah, of course I did. I saw it the day it came out.
It's 2 months.
Pretty
by the way.
damn-
It's 2 months, by
Of course it's 2 months. How do you think I feel?
It's
I'm hyped as fuck.
It's not a dancer. Shut up.
It could be a dancer.
It's not
I'm
a
not
dancer.
sure yet.
It's Red Mage.
It's not Red Mage, but Red Mage is definitely confirmed.
The shirt said it. It's Red
The
Mage.
shirt said it, but not in the fucking trailer.
The shirt said it.
I hate my life. I hate it. I hate you. I hate both of you. I hate myself then, because one of you is me.
Have a good night, man.
All right, you guys take care.
Wonderful night, everybody. Oh, Mr. Happy didn't introduce himself. Mr.
I don't
Happy.
care.
Yeah, whatever.
He don't care.
Go
There we
follow
go.
him too.
There, everyone's Mr. Happy community. He said he don't care. It's time to just leave him.
It's time to leave him.
That's it. They as soon as you brought up 1.0, I was done.
Hashtag leave happy.
Hashtag 2 monks.
That doesn't make sense. Leave happy? Just leave happy. Leave happy,
Leave
everyone.
happy.
Leave happy.
Leave happy, joy.
I'm leaving now.
Okay, I'm on BRB screen. Screw you all.
Yeah. All right, I've got to go
1 second.
get dressed and get ready. So.
I've got my hand over the end meeting for all button.
All right, that was a really good cast. Well done. Looking forward to playing 11 with you silly, silly men.
Oh, Slack, thanks for the sub, Slack.
Oh, of course. I was waiting for you to bring it up. I wanted to wait until towards the end. There's some. I'm having such weird frame drops.
Has nobody seen fucking Chinese wuxia movies where all the martial artists just do the fucking stretches in their fucking training and it just looks like they're dancing?
Is that why people think it's dancer?
Yes. And because she swung her sleeve at him twice. And because in the artwork she's holding a sword instead of her fist.
I mean, she could be a dancer because the dancer could be like a fluid monk, but
literally a monk.
I think it's too.
You don't even have to see a Chinese wuxia movie. You could go watch Kung Fu Panda and see that shit.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding.
Maybe it's gonna be two dancers.
I will punch you in the fucking face.
Like a monk or like a dancer?
I hate all of you.
Oh my god. All right. You guys are great.
So much animosity right now.
I will catch you later. Lakshmi, I'll put up the spelling into our group chat.
Lakshmi?
Yeah.
I won't forget it.
And I will try to get that account set up tonight to make sure that I still have my character there.
I know I have to get that all set up. I have to figure out how I'm going to install it since I don't own it on Steam. I got to see if I have discs or if an ISO, maybe I can go find some.
All right, well, here's my EverQuest discs. There we go. That's the one I was looking for.
If anyone in any of the chats knows the easiest way to install it without actually buying it on Steam, please let me know.
Let me see if
so
I got
easy on
any
Steam.
more of these.
Yeah, it's also $40.
There we go. I'm bringing my camera back up on my side for a little bit.
Fuck it. Just fucking tell your stream. Just, hey, guys, tehMorag needs $40.
The old instruction booklet.
Guys, somebody cheer him 4,000 real quick.
God, no.
Do it. I'm asking Morag's chat to cheer him 4,000 right
The old Vanadil collection.
No, he's not asking. I'm asking.
No,
And
do
Treasures
not
of
cheer
Autogon.
me 4,000.
Okay, guys, he really doesn't want it, so now it's gonna happen. You're welcome, Morag. The more you don't want it, the more they don't fucking listen. So you should have known, but you should be like, yeah, sure, somebody do it. And then they call you fucking piece of shit, and then you're like, well, I still avoided getting 4,000, didn't I?
I can't talk anymore because you know what happens if you continue
I've been there. If you tell them not to, and it doesn't matter. You just like, no, guys, please.
It's goddamn. What is it? Oh wait, launch from their website still works. Oh, can I just download their launcher?
Probably.
Oh, yeah, I'll definitely check that out then.
But you still need to own like the. Actually, I think you can just upgrade your account.
I don't have the very last one. I think.
Yeah, you can get the client for free, but you would need, if you wanted to do anything involving it, you would need to upgrade your account to have the other things. I don't think you actually need to buy it from Steam.
Yeah, I'll go check out afterwards.
Yeah, Yeezus sent you a message on Discord with a link, I think.
Ooh, thank you.
Okay.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna get out of here so I can get ready and do all the things. Guys, great cast.
Oh.
I'm gonna go relax before raid.
Cool. Enjoy.
All right. Gentlemen, I'll talk to you on Saturday.
See you guys later. Have fun. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, everyone. I'm going to wrap up the stream. I've raided an hour. I'm probably not going to stream it tonight because I just kind of want to relax. I don't want to be in front of the camera all night for the raid again. It's a little tiring, and I just need to be able to work on some things on the side. Anyway, hashtag 2monks. I will see all of you. I will see all of you tomorrow. Don't forget, we have Twitch front page tomorrow. I'll be streaming all Reset Day stuff from throughout the whole stream, 7 a.m., 2 p.m., normal stream day, and we have State of the Realm. Mary will be our guest on tomorrow's State of the Realm, and we will be talking about our FanFest experiences, impressions, how we felt after it, how we felt about the news, the trailers. Is it 2monks? Is it the fucking dancers? 2monks. So anyway, guys, I will see you tomorrow. Guysman, thank you for the sub here. I got one last one for you. This is for you, Guysman, before I head out. Boom.
Welcome to the Mr. Happy Army.
Oh, it's also for final, by the way. Glad I got to sign Lightning Returns. Anyway, I'll see you fine, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow for Final Fantasy 14 and Twitch front page. Be here 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Let's make it hype, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, I will see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye. Love you. 2monks, 2 furious.